A longtime member of Wisconsin's congressional delegation now has a permanent place in the Capitol. Former House Speaker Paul Ryan pulled back the curtains to unveil his official portrait today. Ryan thanked Southern Wisconsin voters for sending him to Congress as a 28-year-old. He represented the 1st District for 20 years. Before that, he was a staffer for 5 years. Ryan says he remembers his first day as an intern as he drove to today's ceremony.
I arrived in Washington, D.C. as this wide-eyed kid from Janesville, Wisconsin, with a love of supply-side economics and a reverence for Ronald Reagan, who grew up just an hour down the Rock River downstream in Illinois.
Ryan remarked that during his days as a staffer, he had to work a side job as a personal trainer to make ends meet.